Because at the time, the war was just about to start. It really bothered me a lot of things bothered me afterwards, but one of them was that people were trying to say I wouldn't have said that.
Country music is full of heart, hits, and larger-than-life personalities. Behind the glittering spotlight, some stars are just as famous for the chaos they leave behind. From tense studio sessions to fiery tour bus clashes, these are the artists that collaborators secretly dreaded working with. Join us as we reveal 20 country stars whose talent couldn't hide their difficult sides, giving you an inside look at the drama, tension, and unforgettable moments behind the music. Number 20, Natalie Maines.
But that particular circumstance or instance isn't one of the things I feel proud that I spoke up.
Natalie Maines was the voice that split a room. In March 2003, she told a London audience that her band did not support the coming Iraq War and that they were ashamed the president was from their home state of Texas. The remark traveled fast across the United States. Country radio stations stopped playing the Chicks, and some programmers pulled every single song from rotation. Fans in parking lots smashed and burned albums, and some people sent angry letters and threats. Sponsors and promoters stepped away, and a band that once filled stadiums felt suddenly isolated. Maines issued an apology a few days later, but the backlash kept growing. The episode became a sharp lesson about how politics and public image collide in music. Some artists in Nashville turned away while others quietly supported them. Years went by, and the Chicks fought to reclaim their place, winning awards and making new music, while the memory of that moment kept shaping how audiences saw them. The controversy showed that one sentence can alter bookings, friendships, and trust in a career. It also showed the cost of honesty when a crowd expects comfort rather than debate. For young musicians, it became a warning, and for fans, it became a test of loyalty. For the band, it became part of their story and part of the larger conversation about free speech and fame in America. The next artist will thrill you. Number 19, Blake Shelton.
I don't think it's a risk to leave the show. I don't think if I walked away from my career at this point.
Blake Shelton has always been the charming cowboy with a sharp grin and a louder voice. But behind that easy smile, many in the industry have whispered about how hard he can be to work with. Over the years, a few musicians and crew members have hinted that his jokes can sometimes cross lines, and his temper isn't as easygoing as his TV persona suggests. Some said that on tour, he preferred to keep the spotlight fixed squarely on himself, making supporting acts feel invisible. During his time on The Voice, stories quietly spread that he could be stubborn in creative disagreements, insisting that things be done his way. Old tweets from years back added more smoke to the fire when fans uncovered some questionable posts filled with edgy humor that didn't age well. Though he later apologized, those words made many people in and out of the industry see him differently. Behind the scenes, Blake is known to have moods that swing between playful and prickly, depending on who he's talking to and what kind of day he's having. Yet, despite the drama, his charm still carries him through. Producers say that when Blake walks into a room, he owns it completely, and that's both his gift and his curse. He can make people laugh, but he can also leave them walking away shaking their heads. And that tension continues with the next name. Number 18, Jason Aldean.
At some point, I just feel like you got to plant your flag somewhere and stand for something. And we put it out. We put a video out that I felt like.
Jason Aldean has always carried himself like the tough guy of country music, the kind who lets his songs do the talking, and his silence does the warning. But behind that cool swagger lies a storm that has made him one of the most talked about names in Nashville. He's talented, no doubt, but many who've worked with him say he can be hard to please and even harder to read. When his music video, Try That in a Small Town, hit the airwaves, it exploded into controversy. Critics said it sent the wrong message, while his supporters defended it as a stand for traditional values. The debate split not only fans, but also fellow country artists, some of whom quietly refused to share a stage with him afterward. Rumors of tension on set and in studios began to swirl. Producers whispered that Jason could be controlling, wanting final say on every note and camera angle. And when the Aldeans' social media feud with singer Maren blew up, the drama only deepened. What made it all fascinating was how Jason thrived on the noise. The more people talked, the stronger his image grew. He became the country star you either loved or couldn't stand to be around. But if you thought Jason Aldean was complicated, wait until you hear about the next name, because his scandals didn't just shake the industry, they nearly ended his career. Number 17, Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen was once hailed as one of country music's brightest rising stars, known for his gravelly voice and songs that captured small-town life with raw honesty. But in 2021, his career took a dramatic turn when a video surfaced showing him using a racial slur. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Radio stations stopped playing his music, streaming platforms removed his songs from playlists, and his record label publicly condemned the incident. Even friends and collaborators who had worked closely with him stepped back, unsure how to navigate the storm. Inside the studio, Morgan was already known for his intense focus and unpredictability. He could be passionate and inspiring one moment, then irritable and stubborn the next, pushing for perfect takes and long hours that tested everyone's patience. Some producers and session musicians admitted that working with him could be exhausting because he demanded both excellence and loyalty. Despite the controversy, his fan base remained loyal, streaming his songs and supporting his comeback, which turned into one of the most talked about returns in country music history. Number 16, Maren Morris. Maren Morris has never been the type to stay quiet when something feels wrong. She speaks her mind with the same fire she sings with, and that boldness has earned her both applause and plenty of enemies in Nashville. Known for blending country with pop and tackling subjects most artists avoid, Maren's honesty often rubs people the wrong way. Behind the spotlight, some insiders whispered that she can be tough in the studio, demanding that every lyric and note match her vision perfectly. While that perfectionism makes her music powerful, it has also made collaborations tense. Producers have admitted she sometimes rewrites songs or changes direction completely if she feels it isn't authentic enough. But what really made headlines was her public feud with Brittany Aldean, the wife of Jason Aldean. The two clashed online over gender identity and social issues, turning Maren into both a hero and a target overnight. Some country artists quietly distanced themselves, calling her too outspoken. Yet for others, she became a symbol of courage in an industry that often avoids controversy. Maren doesn't chase approval, she chases truth, and that makes her unforgettable, even to those who can't stand her. Still, while her fire burned bright, another country icon was preparing to light his own match, and his feud with Maren's bandmate would soon divide Nashville like never before, as another country star steps up with even more heat. Number 15, Toby Keith. Toby Keith has always been the embodiment of bold, all-American country, with a voice that booms and a presence that fills any room. But behind that confident image is a man who doesn't back down from a fight, and that has made working with him both exciting and challenging. In 2003, when Natalie Maines of the Chicks criticized his hit, Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, Toby responded publicly, turning the feud into one of the most talked-about conflicts in country music history. He used concerts, interviews, and even imagery on stage to fire back, showing that he wouldn't let criticism slide. Those who have worked with Toby describe him as fiercely loyal to his friends and his beliefs, but equally stubborn when things don't go his way. He expects respect and commitment from everyone around him, and crossing him can have consequences that last. Producers and collaborators have quietly admitted that negotiating creative differences with Toby requires patience and careful handling. His determination to control his image and music sometimes caused tension behind the scenes, but it also helped him build a career filled with hits and sold-out tours. Working with Toby Keith is not for the faint of heart. His drive, intensity, and unwavering sense of pride make him unforgettable, whether you love him or find him difficult. Number 14, Luke Bryan. Luke Bryan is the kind of performer who looks effortless on stage, flashing his grin, dancing through every hit, and making fans feel like they're part of the party. But behind that cheerful persona, some people who have worked with him say he can be more complicated than he appears. On tour, he's all business, and that means the supporting acts and crew have to keep up with his pace. Musicians have quietly admitted that Luke sometimes treats opening acts like background decoration, making it hard for them to feel valued even when they're sharing the stage. In the studio, he's a perfectionist who wants every note, every beat, and every movement to feel just right. That drive creates incredible performances, but it can also create tension. Producers and band members have said that he can push long hours of rehearsals, expecting everyone to match his energy and commitment without complaint. Despite the pressure, Luke masks it all with charm and humor, keeping the room lively and the audience none the wiser. Still, that same charisma can hide the fact that working with him isn't always easy. For those on his team, it's a mix of excitement, exhaustion, and the unspoken challenge of keeping up with a star who refuses to settle for anything less than perfect. Number 13, Kenny Chesney. Kenny Chesney has always had that sun-soaked island vibe that makes people think he's the most laid-back guy in country music. But those who've worked closely with him tell a different story. Behind the calm smile and beachy charm is a man who runs his career like a ship's captain, strict, focused, and unwilling to let anything drift off course. In the studio, he's known for demanding precision, often asking for retakes until every sound feels effortless. To the audience, it all looks easy, but the people behind the scenes say Kenny's perfection comes at a price. He doesn't like surprises, and he doesn't like losing control. Some former collaborators have hinted that Kenny can be quick to cut ties when things don't meet his expectations. If a producer or musician doesn't share his exact vision, he's known to quietly move on without much explanation. Others say he prefers to keep his creative circle small, trusting only those who understand his rhythm and pace. He's not cruel, just calculating a man who believes consistency is the key to greatness. Still, that kind of control has earned him a reputation for being difficult, especially when things don't go his way. But for all his careful control, the next group of country stars learned how fast control can slip away when the world turns against you, and their story became one of the most unforgettable in country music history. Number 12, Travis Tritt.
I have been singing my whole life. I started out as a kid singing in what was referred to as children's church.
Travis Tritt built his career on a blend of southern rock swagger and traditional country grit. Known for hits like Trouble and Help Me Hold On, he quickly became a staple of the 1990s country scene. However, his reputation behind the scenes has been a topic of discussion. Tritt's no-nonsense attitude and refusal to conform to industry expectations have led to strained relationships with some colleagues. He's been vocal about his dissatisfaction with Nashville's inner circles, stating that the industry often favors artists who are easier to control. Tritt has openly criticized newer artists like Brantley Gilbert, accusing them of disrespecting the stage and the audience. Such public disputes have added to his image as a figure who doesn't shy away from confrontation. Despite these controversies, Tritt's commitment to his music and his fans remains unwavering. He continues to tour and produce music that resonates with his audience, staying true to his roots and values. While his direct approach may not endear him to everyone in the industry, it has certainly solidified his place as a distinctive voice in country music. Number 11, Faith Hill. Faith Hill has always dazzled fans with her beauty, grace, and that golden voice that could make even the hardest heart soften. But behind those bright lights and glossy magazine covers, some people who worked with her have described a side of Faith that wasn't always easy to handle. In the studio, she's known to chase perfection with a kind of fierce determination that can wear everyone else out. Musicians have said that sessions with her could stretch for hours longer than planned because she would keep pushing for one more take, one more harmony, one more emotion she hadn't quite captured yet. While many admired her commitment, others quietly admitted it could be exhausting. A few producers even hinted that Faith sometimes dismissed ideas that didn't match her own, believing she knew exactly what sounded right. It wasn't arrogance. They said it was intensity, the drive of someone who had worked too hard to settle for average. Still, that same focus sometimes made collaborations tense, especially when other strong personalities entered the room. She wanted excellence, not excuses. And though she never caused public drama, those quiet tensions gave her a reputation as someone you had to keep up with or get left behind. Number 10, Tim McGraw. Tim McGraw is one of country music's most respected voices, known for his smooth delivery and charismatic stage presence. But behind that calm exterior lies a man who runs his career with precision and quiet authority. People who have worked with him describe him as deeply involved in every step of the creative process. He wants every note, every lyric, and every arrangement to serve the song perfectly. While he rarely raises his voice or causes public drama, his expectations are high, and those around him quickly learn that cutting corners or pushing back lightly is not an option. Collaborators say that Tim can be controlling in subtle ways, steering creative decisions and making sure his vision is executed exactly as he imagined. Some co-writers or producers have found themselves walking a fine line, balancing his requests with their own ideas, knowing that his approval is essential for the project to move forward. That combination of professionalism and quiet authority has made him one of the most successful artists in country music, but it has also created tension for those who are not used to working under such focused leadership. For anyone in the studio with Tim, it is both a challenge and an honor. His intensity ensures excellence, but it also leaves little room for error or compromise, making him one of Nashville's most exacting stars to collaborate with. Number 9, Brooks and Dunn. Brooks and Dunn were the ultimate country duo, a powerhouse team whose chemistry on stage could electrify any crowd. Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn complemented each other perfectly, their voices weaving together to create hits that defined an era. But behind the curtain, the partnership was not always smooth. Both men were strong-willed, talented songwriters, and performers with their own ideas about how their music should sound. Creative differences sometimes created tension in the studio, and even minor disagreements could linger longer than anyone expected. Those close to the duo have said that producing their music often required careful navigation. When one wanted to push a song in one direction and the other disagreed, producers and collaborators had to act as mediators to keep sessions from unraveling. Even while touring, the balance between Kix and Ronnie's personalities could be delicate. The pressures of fame, long hours on the road, and constant public attention sometimes magnified small frustrations into larger conflicts. After more than 20 years together, the duo eventually parted ways for a time, needing space to pursue individual projects and clear the tension. Yet, their mutual respect never disappeared, and when they reunited, it was clear that even the strongest partnerships face challenges. But with effort and dedication, harmony can always be restored. Number 8, Reba McEntire. Reba McEntire has long been the queen of country music, a woman whose presence alone can command a room. But behind her sparkling smile and gracious charm lies a steel spine that has earned her both admiration and fear. People who've worked with Reba say she runs her career with military precision. She shows up early, expects everyone else to do the same, and doesn't tolerate carelessness. Her band members and crew have quietly admitted that working for her can feel like standing before royalty. You better know your lines, your timing, and your place. Reba's perfectionism comes from her deep respect for the craft. She believes every performance is a promise to her audience, and that promise must never be broken. That kind of commitment made her a legend, but it also made her intimidating. If someone missed a cue or forgot a lyric, she didn't need to yell. One look was enough to make the message clear. Still, many say that after the pressure and the nerves, working with Reba was like going through boot camp for greatness. She pushes people beyond what they think they can do, and that's what separates her from the rest. But even in a world of power and pride, Reba's discipline seems gentle compared to the next country icon man whose calm smile hides a cold memory for those who've crossed him. Number 7, George Strait. George Strait is known as the King of Country, a man whose quiet presence and smooth voice built a legacy of respect few can touch. But behind that polished charm and gentlemanly grace, George is famous for something else entirely. He never forgets when someone lets him down. Those who've worked with him describe him as polite and professional, but with a kind of distance that keeps people guessing what he's really thinking. He doesn't shout, argue, or cause scenes, but when he decides someone has crossed a line, that person rarely gets a second chance. People in Nashville often say that George's silence is louder than any confrontation. If you disappoint him, he won't make a fuss. He'll simply stop calling. Musicians who once toured with him have quietly admitted that losing his trust was like being erased from a world they once belonged to. He runs his career with quiet authority, treating his team with respect, but expecting the same level of loyalty in return. No outbursts, no scandals, just discipline wrapped in a cowboy hat. But the next star on this list didn't believe in keeping things bottled up. Number 6, Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks is a storm in cowboy boots. When he walks into a room, the air changes, people straighten up, guitars quiet down, and everyone waits to see what he'll do next. He's one of the most electric performers in country music history, but his drive for perfection has made him both inspiring and exhausting to work with. Studio engineers have shared stories about marathon recording sessions that stretched late into the night because Garth wanted to chase a sound only he could hear in his head. He didn't just want a song to be good, he wanted it to be unforgettable, and he pushed everyone around him to match that energy. Some say he has a larger-than-life personality that can fill every corner of a studio, leaving little space for others to breathe. He's been known to make sudden creative changes, asking entire tracks to be redone because a single detail didn't feel right. It wasn't cruelty, it was conviction. But for those trying to keep up, it could feel like running a marathon without water. Even with the tension, few can deny that Garth's intensity helped shape modern country music. He's both a perfectionist and a powerhouse. Still, where Garth brought thunder, the next legend brought smoke and slow fireman whose laid-back charm could hide the chaos waiting right behind the curtain. Number 5, Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is the kind of legend who seems too peaceful to ever cause trouble. With his soft smile, braids, and easy laugh, most people picture him strumming under the stars, surrounded by friends and good vibes. But those who've toured or recorded with Willie know that his calm exterior can hide a quiet kind of chaos. He's famously unpredictable. One night, he'll play exactly what's planned, and the next, he might change the entire set list minutes before stepping on stage. Musicians have told stories of scrambling to keep up as Willie switched keys, skipped verses, or played songs no one had rehearsed in weeks. Part of his charm is that he moves by instinct. He doesn't care much for rules or rigid schedules, and that can drive organized crews absolutely crazy. Rehearsals that were supposed to start at noon might not begin until evening, or they might not happen at all. Willie is also known for wandering off when he feels like it, leaving everyone guessing when he'll reappear. Yet, no matter how unpredictable he is, the moment he starts playing, everything feels right again. People forgive him because his music carries magic. Working with Willie may test patience, but it also teaches you to let go and follow the music wherever it goes. And that restless spirit is something the next rising star would take to a whole new level with her own rules and her own way of doing things. Number 4, Kacey Musgraves. Kacey Musgraves glides through the country world like a breath of fresh air, cool, modern, and utterly sure of who she is. But that quiet confidence has sometimes felt like arrogance to the people who've worked with her. Early in her career, Kacey quickly earned a reputation for being fiercely independent, someone who didn't like being told what to do or how to sound. In a town that often expects artists to play by the book, she chose to write her own. Producers say she walks into the studio knowing exactly what she wants, and if a song doesn't feel true to her vision, she won't fake it just to please anyone. That kind of honesty has made her a critical darling, but a challenge behind the scenes. Some session players have admitted she can be distant when things don't go her way, quietly taking control and shutting down ideas that don't fit. Others say she's driven, not difficult, an artist chasing authenticity in a world that rewards imitation. Still, her perfectionism and refusal to compromise have rubbed a few traditionalists the wrong way. They call her too bold, too outspoken, too modern for Nashville's comfort. Yet, Kacey never flinches. She smiles, sings her truth, and walks away, leaving everyone talking. But if Kacey's calm defiance stirs quiet tension, the next star on our list carried fire that could set an entire room ablaze when things didn't go her way. Number 3, Miranda Lambert. Miranda Lambert is the kind of country star whose talent is matched only by her fierce personality. On stage, she commands attention with her powerful voice, fiery lyrics, and raw emotion. But behind the scenes, that same intensity can make her challenging to work with. People who have shared studio time or tours with Miranda say she is incredibly passionate about her music and won't compromise when something doesn't feel right. If a song, arrangement, or creative decision doesn't meet her standards, she doesn't hesitate to speak up or walk away. Insiders have described her as both inspiring and intimidating. She can be warm, funny, and engaging one moment, and then completely serious and unyielding the next. Her dedication to authenticity means she expects everyone around her to match her level of commitment, and those who can't often find themselves sidelined. Some producers and collaborators admit that tension builds quickly when working with her, but the results are undeniable. Music that is honest, emotional, and unforgettable. Miranda doesn't seek approval. She seeks truth in her art, even if it means ruffling feathers along the way. Working with her can be exhausting, but for those who can keep up, it's an experience that leaves a lasting mark and teaches what it truly means to pursue passion without compromise. Number 2, Charley Crockett. Charley Crockett carries the soul of old-school country in every note he sings, but behind that smooth outlaw image lies a reputation that makes some people nervous to work with him. He lives and breathes his music, pouring every ounce of himself into performances, and he expects the same dedication from everyone around him. If a collaborator doesn't match his energy or commitment, it can create tension in the studio or on stage. Some musicians have described sessions with Charley as intense and unpredictable, where a single disagreement about a note or a style can spark conflict. Charley isn't afraid to speak his mind either. He's known for calling out other artists he feels are too commercial or inauthentic, sometimes taking these criticisms public. One of his feuds with fellow musician Gavin Adcock made headlines, showing that he doesn't shy away from controversy. That kind of honesty can be exhausting to handle, but it's also what makes him captivating. Every performance feels lived in and genuine, a reflection of someone who refuses to compromise his art. Working with Charley Crockett is a ride that demands patience and passion, thrilling for those who can keep up, but challenging for anyone expecting things to go smoothly. Number 1, Gavin Adcock. Gavin Adcock is a rising country star whose talent is matched only by the drama that seems to follow him wherever he goes. Unlike most artists who keep their disagreements private, Gavin has a way of turning every feud into a public spectacle. He's known for calling out fellow musicians on social media, sometimes escalating minor disputes into heated arguments that fans and industry insiders can't ignore. One incident at a festival even ended with a physical confrontation involving Bryan, showing just how volatile things can get when Gavin feels challenged or disrespected. Behind the scenes, people say working with Gavin can be unpredictable. He's passionate and committed to his vision, but that intensity sometimes borders on stubbornness. Producers and collaborators have admitted that he doesn't always handle compromise well, insisting that his ideas take center stage. While his confidence drives his creativity, it also leaves little room for patience from those around him. Despite the chaos, there's no denying his talent. Gavin's music has a raw, compelling energy that draws listeners in and keeps them hooked. But for anyone working closely with him, it's a roller coaster ride full of tension, surprises, and the kind of unpredictability that makes the country music world both fascinating and exhausting. Now, what do you think about all these country artists? What do you think about their behavior? Let's hear from you in the comments. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.